Charlie Kirk shocks pro-abortionist, gets her to admit she's wrong. So this is kind of a topic I have a strong opinion about. But let's start a video and I'll probably voice it as a reaction to some of the funny things we're gonna hear. Ooh.
Do you remember, I'm sorry, I wanted to respond to kind of a specific comment you made. I hope you'll be open to that. I do remember, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what university you did say this specifically at, but you did state that you believe that the Holocaust was not as bad as abortion. So in other words, you believe that abortion is worse than the Holocaust.
So they're both
That's a strong
evils,
opinion.
Of course.
with some similarities. The Holocaust in some ways was far more evil,
Okay.
but as far as magnitude, the abortion crime is more evil. And I can explain more if you'd like.
Okay, sure.
That's a
So
good point.
I did do some research. It is found that 1973 Roe v. Wade was ratified, correct? And so one thing that you did fail to mention was that specifically numbers are just larger because abortion has been going on for a longer amount of time. If the mass genocide, right, that the Holocaust would have continued, it was about 6 million killed per year. That would have progressed to 12 million. That would have progressed to 18 million. But it was...
Okay, so is she talking just about the US or is she talking about the whole world and abortions? She's probably talking just about the US, right? It's kind of disingenuous to talk only about the US because, yeah, Nazis, it's not like they stayed only in Austria or Germany, right?
ended because, again, it's a totalitarian form of mass genocide. And so I wanted to ask you, when you look at the 93% of women who do get abortions, it's 58,590,000 that get abortions the first trimester, correct? And there is suggestive data that states that 12 weeks, of gestation, there is significant data that has said that pain receptors may not have yet been developed. And so that would mean
Doesn't matter.
outside of the women who received abortions first trimester, it would be 88,200 per year after the first trimester that the babies are likely experiencing pain. I will admit to that. However, I am pretty sure that every single person...
So you want to tell me that if you knock someone out, that they can't feel pain or don't even know what's going on, it's okay to kill them? I don't know, like, to me, once the baby has a heartbeat, it's a murder. And why did you get pregnant? Well, most of the cases are because you were irresponsible. If you got pregnant and now you want abortion, obviously it wasn't planned, right? Obviously we have some anti-conception, which is 99% effective. So whose fault is it that you get pregnant? Here really comes my body, my choice. Yes, you used your body, you had your choice, and now you're pregnant. And again, if you think that after the one-night stand or whatever, after you had sex, you might get pregnant, you still have a plan B that you can use. I'm still unsure how I feel about it, but it's not abortion, right? So you still have this one last chance to reverse getting pregnant. And you didn't. So now, once the baby has a heartbeat, to me that's a murder. And yes, we hear all about like exceptions for health reasons of the kid, of the mother, and all of it. But if you look at the statistics, only about 5% of all of these abortions are because of the health concern. So 95% is pretty much because you were irresponsible, because you don't want to be with the father of your child, you're not in the financial position to have a baby or something like that. You're too young, you were irresponsible, it was one night stand, you're actually single, stuff like this, right? Only 5%, and I think the rape is actually included in those 5%. So only 5% is this exceptions that actually, even if abortion was banned, they would still go case to case and decide. And health reasons and rape would probably make you eligible for abortion. But other than that, to me, it's like you were irresponsible. You already did your body, your choice. Now you're literally murdering a kid. Doesn't matter if it's first trimester or second trimester, no. Like once you know you're pregnant, the kid's growing inside of you. That's the new life. It's not like after first trimester, that's the new life. No. Really, once you have heartbeat, that's new life. Like, what are we talking about? It's murder.
In the Holocaust, which would have been 2 million per year, as far as the people who could feel pain, did feel that pain. And so I would like to ask you, actually, I think I would just like to tell you, I think that 2 million actual people, kids, grown people, people who were starved, worked to death, I think that is more significant than the 88,200 life forms, if you will. Because, again, 58,590,000 of them are probably not feeling any pain.
Okay, yeah, but a human life is a human life, regardless of how advanced it is or whether...
And those kids that were aborted never even get the chance to even feel the pain. Like no one says that the Holocaust is a good thing, right? It was horrible, it was evil. But saying that abortion is okay, it's ridiculous.
it can feel pain, it still has moral worth.
Right, but I found it interesting. You said it's worse, so I think that what I'm...
So it's worse in numbers.
Okay.
The Holocaust was worse for two other different reasons.
Sure, go ahead.
It actually eliminated such a big portion of Jewish population.
Absolutely.
Nearly half
Yep,
of all living
genocide.
Jews were basically
Crazy.
vaporized. And secondly, there was an intent and an evil of trying to eradicate an entire religious people.
Yeah.
That is not unparalleled, but we've only seen that happen 4 or 5 times in history. But just to reiterate the point, what maybe you could tell me, a 4-week-old baby who may or may not feel pain. Let me take your argument and say the 4-week-old baby cannot feel pain.
A 4-week-old baby that's outside of the womb or in the utero.
In utero.
Okay, understood.
So what is the moral difference of that 4-week-old baby versus you?
Versus me?
Yeah. Why do you matter more than that 4-week-old baby?
Because I have past experience, I also have future experiences.
Because you got the chance
future
to have that
experiences. Nope,
experience.
shut up. Nope, you are incorrect. That baby does not have any past experiences, and therefore I believe that I've probably affected and impacted more people in both a positive and a negative way than that 4-week-old uterus has. I'm sorry, not uterus, embryo.
So just to make sure I'm clear,
Yeah.
that your moral worldview is that people gain more value the older they get.
Not necessarily the older they get. I would say that people gain more value.
Well, no, you said that based on what they've done. So, like an 82-year-old has more moral value than an 8-year-old. In fact, usually,
because it depends.
Just to interrupt, the West actually was built on the opposite idea that we sacrifice the old for the young. But during COVID, we sacrificed the young for the old, and we actually inverted it. It used to be that the grandparents would fall on the sword so that kids could live longer lives. So I'm just trying to understand, and from where do you get that moral worldview? Why do you believe that?
Well, I wouldn't even say that what I'm arguing
That was a
is
good
that
point.
it's based off of how many people you know. What I'm saying is, realistically, if you are walking around, right, and you have a 4-week-old uterus, I'm so sorry, I keep saying uterus.
A
I mean
baby
embryo.
in utero.
Or embryo, okay. In your stomach. And then you have,
Stomach.
let's just take a 4-year-old kid, all right? There are more people who most likely know that 4-year-old kid. That 4-year-old kid has the ability to understand fear, the fact that its life is in danger, and
But that 4-year-old kid has this ability only because it got the chance to live the life. Like the morality of the moral part of this is that you're literally choosing one life over another. That 4-week-old embryo would get to that state of being 4-year-old if you didn't decide to murder it. Like, what are we talking about?
so therefore there is probably more reason, right, to not terminate the life of that 4-year-old.
And literally, my wife had such a great point, and we agreed on it. How hard, it's crazy hard to agree on it. Really. She said if you had to choose during the childbirth, between me and your sons, who would you choose? And what she said is, I've already lived my life for whatever how old she is, right? I don't want to enclose it here, but yeah, I've already lived this amount of years here. The kid has not, right? The kid deserves this chance to live. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to you if you're not a parent, but literally my wife said that she already lived her life, even though it's not the end of her life, right? But she already lived her life and our sons did not. So obviously she would choose our sons for them to have the chance to live at least as long as she did, right? And that's what good parents would do. And I had to agree with it. I love my wife unconditionally. But we understand that our whole life is about the future generation. And this lady obviously doesn't understand it, but I don't blame her. She's still a kid, right? Like, she might be studying university, but that doesn't mean a lot. Like, you don't have life experience yet. You don't understand the things like someone who's outside of the school do. And really, like, comparing 4-year-old kid to 4-month-old, the only difference is that the 4-year-old got the chance to live for 4 years now. If you kill the 4-week-old embryo, they never got the chance to live. And to me, again, that's murder.
Yeah,
rather than the life of the 4-week-old.
So there's so much wrong with that argument. Okay. So under that belief system,
sure.
If by government decree they said let's eliminate the Down syndrome kids,
do Down syndrome people still have the ability to feel pain, recognize fear,
some,
recognize sadness?
But it's highly diminished. But just this is not a hypothetical, exactly. Actually.
What is that? Like, ability to feel the pain. Like, they have ability to feel the pain because they got a chance to feel the pain. Like, if you kill someone before they feel the pain, that doesn't justify that you actually kill them.
Okay.
It's actually, you must get an abortion in Iceland if you have a Down syndrome baby. You must.
Yeah, that's really terrible.
Okay, we agree.
Yeah.
Right, but why is it terrible? The abortion, it doesn't matter that much, right? It's just like a clump of cells. Like, why not?
If it is going to directly impact either the mother's life or the baby's life, then yes, I do think that abortion is an important issue. I don't think the government should ever be able to come in and say, hey, you're required to have an abortion. In fact, the whole slogan for the pro-choice movement is your body, your choice. And I know you're going to disagree with that, but that is the whole point. So what it's saying is it's not left up to the government to decide if they should or shouldn't get an abortion. In Iceland, yeah, that's a problem because it's entirely left up to the government. But that's an issue.
Let me take it to another extreme, if that's okay.
Sure.
Because this is full freedom, right? So you're saying, hey, my body, my choice.
I'm actually saying for the first trimester. After that,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's just say that this is a different moral argument that I'm interested to have you play around with.
Okay.
Should it be legal if a mom finds out she's having a girl,
okay,
but she wants a boy? Should she be able to abort that 3-week-old?
Yes.
What? What?
Why?
Can that child directly survive outside her body?
Well, eventually, yes. I mean, again, so we talk about stages of development. What is the first step of human development?
Whoa.
I mean, obviously, it's whenever the two pieces of DNA,
the egg and the sperm
correct,
meet,
yes,
right?
and then they collaborate.
So therefore, if human development begins at fertilization, conception,
sure.
So then shouldn't the human be protected at conception?
Well, I don't even think it's going to be protected if the baby is going to be born to a mother who's like, well, dang it, my kid's not a girl, it's a boy, or vice versa, then I don't even think they should be born to that parent in the first place. So,
but just to understand, so
you still have adoption. You can still give the kid up for the adoption if you feel like you're gonna suck as a parent, you're not gonna love your baby, just give it for adoption. Don't kill the baby. Like, what the hell? What is this girl talking about? How do you know that the parents didn't want to abort you when they found out you're a girl? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, oh, okay, so I'm having a girl. Okay, abort. What? That's crazy to me. Like, just if enough people think like Asians would be out, gone, extinct. Because there's so many Asian cultures that want to have males, right? Little boys, because that's to them that's what's gonna carry on the family name and the family, right? So if the whole world was thinking like her, we would probably all extinct. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't believe she said it.
What you are arguing for is eugenics, just so we are clear. It is not just illegal, it is grotesquely illegal what you are talking about, which is sex-selective abortion, basically where you get a DNA result at 3 weeks, and you could be like, nope, not the hair color I like, terminate it. I wanted a boy. So basically your view of pregnancy is no different than customizing a Ford Explorer.
Whoa.
What do Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow have in common? All of their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she is often pressured to end her child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her are telling her that her baby is not a life. That's where the Ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and their network of clinics offers compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound. Once a mother hears their child's beautiful heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to join forces with Preborn. I'm a donor, and you should be too. Together, we can empower women to choose life, empower the truth of motherhood, transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28, and a $140 gift will help to rescue 5 babies. When you donate monthly, you'll receive stories and pictures of lives you helped to save. Please.
Yeah, that was a big issue during the US elections that I had, that Democrats just kept talking about my body, my choice, allow abortions and everything. However, like I mentioned before, like 95% of abortions are not because of the medical issues, right? So it might be financial situation, and it's expensive to start a family, right? So instead of thinking how to make it legal to kill the baby, maybe try to help the new families, try to help single mothers, because not all of them want to actually abort a baby. Not all of them want to kill the baby, but they think they can't afford to have the baby. They think they cannot afford to be a single mother, which wasn't true during the Democrats era in the US, right? But again, like, you're just putting a band-aid on the issue rather than going to the cause of the issue. And in this case, it was financial situation, because it's expensive to have a kid, and not just in the US, but like maternity leave in the US, right? You don't really have that. So if you have a kid, you're gonna lose one income. So the issues like this, like the abortion, to me, should not have as much attention as it did. Like, the attention should have been to what can we do so the young families and young mothers, I don't know why I keep saying mothers, young mothers feel more supported, feel more secure to have this baby. Because that was the issue. That was those 95%. Like, either being with the partner you don't want to have a baby with, being one night stand, being single mother, being in the bad financial situation. And they're like, you can solve these issues. But the Democrats just decided, yeah, let's allow them to kill the baby. yeah, kill the babies. Literally, they based the whole election on Trump is bad and let's kill those babies. It's ridiculous. So this preborn.com that Charlie Kirk is talking about, it's a step in the right direction. For sure, like...
Please dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/Charlie. That is preborn.com/Charlie, sponsored by Preborn.
No, my whole point again.
No,
is
no,
that...
you got to emphasize on it. Your view is that the baby, if all of a sudden you get a blood test that you don't like, that it's, by the way, you could tell a lot of your baby's DNA test now. How tall it's going to be, its average IQ, brown eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, whether it's going to be likely overweight, obese, whether or not it's going to be a boy or a girl. So if you get anything that you don't like, you say, my body, my choice, get it out of the shopping cart.
The thing is,
Yeah,
it's not
to be
your
honest,
body
it
anymore.
It's very ethically problematic, yeah. But if we have advanced to a society where that can happen, number one,
Yes, no,
we're
I mean,
already
you get
we're
blood
already
tests.
in pretty big trouble if we can literally say, okay, the baby's gonna have blue eyes, green eyes.
No, it's not. We're already there. We're there. So it's just so you understand. It's already.
I mean, you can look at a Punnett table, but it's not actually going to be actually defined.
No, it's very defined. You can get a 3-week-old blood test, and you could tell right around 3 to 6 weeks almost everything with a very, very high predictive correlation of how your kid is going to operate, grow. Now, of course, there are some issues with it, but the sex is highly, highly accurate. It's 90. You take the urine of the mom within 48 hours, you could tell. So, what I want to make sure we're clear. You came here asking about the Holocaust. I'm going to complete the full circle. What you just talked about, sex-selective abortion, is
That's pretty much
Nazi eugenics philosophy,
Yep.
which is that we will eliminate those that we don't want.
Interesting. You're exactly right. You did get me on that one. Yeah.
So you're pretty much Nazi.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend that you got me on that one. No, realistically, if we're really gonna full circle and I'm gonna sit here and think about it, no, you shouldn't be able to kill your baby just because you don't like the
Okay.
gender or whatever.
Fair enough.
Listen, and I apologize for taking it to that extent.
No, it's not your extent.
But hold on.
I want to offer you
Well,
grace. Thank
can
you for saying that,
You're
and I
welcome.
appreciate
But-
that.
Okay. But I want to say, as far as if we are balancing the numbers, I think that the amount of lives that were terminated I think they are more significant as far as the Holocaust, because every single person did absolutely have the ability to feel pain than they were whenever it was the 58 million.
Fair
who were
enough. So
terminated.
here's our view, and we'll close with this.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that if there is a 3-year-old in the audience that has very few friends and
Yeah.
might be living on some homestead, or a 30-year-old that's very connected and very wealthy, in the moral worldview economy that we have,
Yeah.
no moral difference. If there's a
because they're directly living outside of their mother's womb, whereas if you have a
let me go.
fetus,
Let me go a step
sort of
further.
parasite. Okay,
If
sure.
there is a 3-week-old in
Yeah.
utero,
I mean,
or
it's still leeching off of the mother's resources, so I'm not sure entirely how much
So-
of its own being it is.
well, again, so
Did you
you
say
leech for the
leeching?
first 3 years of life. I have a 10-month-old. He doesn't hunt and gather. He doesn't
Right,
go
but
work.
he's not directly attached to your, I assume, to your wife's
Well,
to your wife's body.
in order for
If-
his survival, he has to be directly attached to something.
Yeah.
Somebody has to
Sure.
give the baby breast milk formula.
And it's not just 10 months, right? It's pretty much, I'm told they're adults. I don't understand that she has such a weird moral values that 3-year-old is more than 3-week-old. It's more evolved for sure, but the right for life is the same. And the reason why he's 3 years old is only because he got the chance to be 3 years old. Just think how many Einsteins we probably killed. You never know. They never got the chance to live, right? And you're gonna say it's okay?
Or
okay, formula, yeah, but can
or
it?
something.
Okay, so here's your wife, here's the baby. Can the baby just be apart from your wife and exist
At,
like
at,
that?
at 22 weeks, yes. So for 22
Okay,
weeks,
so
there
again,
is an,
that's outside of the first
there is an
trimester, so-
umbilical cord.
Uh-huh.
So what you say leech, I say give. The mom gives life
Yeah.
to the baby.
Yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
formula.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing outside of first
and,
trimester,
and
so
what
I
we
agree
say,
with you there.
and not even a religious standpoint, because the religious is easy. Just from a moral standpoint, we were all given life by a mom who gave us nutrients through an umbilical cord,
Yeah.
and we should give that back. That is just the moral cycle of life, right? which is that which is given, that which is much expected. And so, again, human development, irrefutably, this even a pro-abort will say this. Human development has a starting point.
It does. It absolutely does.
Yes, we agree. And it's conception. And we can use all these different words. We can use fetus, we can use embryo, we can use little one, whatever.
Sure.
But it's still
all still a human being. It doesn't go from rhinoceros to human being at like 10 weeks. It doesn't go from crocodile to human being. It's
Right.
all human development. Therefore, using reason that we all have, if it's human development and it is a human being, human rights. The first of all human rights is the protection of life.
Interesting. But okay, so do you agree that, like, let's say you go into a doctor's office, you have a 10-year-old and then you have a 22-year-old. The 22-year-old is going to be allowed to submit to more testing as long without parental consent than that 10-year-old or whoever I said was. So I don't know. I think honestly, it's again, and I don't know. Like,
You have a lot of thinking to do about this, and that's okay. Because and this is not your fault. The pro-abortion worldview will collapse if you remove feelings and you remove hyper-emotionality. There is no defense using agreed-upon Western reason, which you believe in, and Western morality, which is we don't kill people smaller than us. We do not eradicate those that are, just because they don't have as much money or as much worth. We believe in universal human equality, which of course you believe in, right? Universal human equality is like the overarching big Western ideal, and by the way, it's in our Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. If you believe in universal human equality, there is no room for abortion in that society. It does not exist.
well, I mean, okay, we can say
No, I'm just
that,
saying, it's
but
fine. You have a lot to think about
but
with
then
that.
we're gonna. I mean, I think you do too. But okay.
I'm happy
listen,
to. No, it's fine. I mean, I've thought about this my whole life. So
yeah. All
thank
right,
you
well,
for your
I'm
time.
thinking myself. Listen,
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Charlie. Again, I want to apologize about what I said earlier about.
That's fine.
About
when,
that comment
when we cut
because
the video,
it's-
we'll put your second answer as well as your first one. We'll be fair to that. Okay? Thank you very
Sure
much.
you will. All right.
No, I will. I'll just be honest. Thank you.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. First and foremost, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell. It really helps us out, and we love it when you leave comments. Share these videos with your friends. Also, get involved with Turning Point USA at tpusa.com. We have our Student Action Summit coming up this summer. We have our Young Women's Leadership Summit. All of the biggest and most amazing events of the summer at tpusa.com. That is tpusa.com. Again, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Thanks for watching.